Hey there YouTube fans, AC Productions here, and today I'm going to be showing you on how to install these LED headlight bulbs. Now I've actually been testing out other brands of LEDs, and I found that these were pretty much the brightest that I've come across. Now let's go ahead and check out these LED style headlight bulbs. And I would say the newest trend now is going away from the HID kits and actually going into the LED kits. Now the reason I say that is because with the LED kits nowadays, they're getting more powerful and they're actually getting just as bright as HID kits. So let's go ahead and take one out. And on this particular brand, here is the LED. On this one, it has 4 little LEDs. So here's a close-up view of the LEDs that are on this particular headlight. As you can see, there's 4 chips on there, and there's 4 chips on the other side. So on both sides. And this, like I said, this was the brightest one I've tested out so far. So therefore, this is what I'm going to install in my R3. Now the reason I believe that this is the most brightest one is because it does have the 4 chips, plus this part's silver. And if you could see here, it's kind of angled in here and angled in here. So because it's being silver, I believe it's reflecting the light a little bit better compared to some other ones that I've tested. So as a close-up, here's the heat sink to dissipate the heat of the LEDs. These LEDs do tend to get warm, almost kind of hot, but because of the heat sink, it dissipates the heat better. And then there's a little high-powered fan on the back. Now as the LEDs get warmer, the little fan goes faster and faster. I guess the RPMs, they kick in a lot more for the fan to keep the LED cool where it doesn't overheat. Now it's a close-up. It comes with this cable. At the end of the cable, you could see the driver. And now this is, I would say, almost similar to an HID, but the HIDs are called ballast, and that's what gives the power to the HID to give it more power to light up. For LEDs, it's LED and driver, so it's a difference, but it's almost kind of the same concept. At the end of that, you got your plug for the H7 connector, and that's what our R3s have, is the H7 connector. And I'm not too sure if you guys could see that close-up view, but on the plug itself there is a positive and negative. Oh, there it is. So there is, if your motorcycle is not with a red and black cable, if you plug this in and the LED does not turn on, just flip the cable over or your connector and replug it in and it should turn on. On the R3, there is no black and red cable. They're both black cable. You won't really know which is positive and which is negative until you plug in the LED. Or if you have a voltmeter, you could also check the polarity so you get it right the first time. But if you don't have a voltmeter, we're going to do it that way without the voltmeter, just to simulate that if you guys don't happen to have one. Alright, so let's go to the bike and let me show you what you need to do to install these new LED headlight bulbs. Well, also before we get to the bike, if you notice on this particular LED light bulb, you're going to notice that there is 2 pins or 2 notches here on the LED. Now the reason for it, normally it would just have 1, so it would look like this, but this one has 2 just because you're able to angle the LED to a more preferable output, or I would say look on the bike. So if you put it in this way, so if it was like this and you put it in this way and you put it in there and you see that you just want to give a comparison to having it turned the other way, you have that option. So if you put it in here and you feel that you have better output on this direction, you're able to do so. So that's the reason this has 2 spots there, just to give you that type of option to kind of see which direction gives you better output on light. Okay, so now for the intentions of this video that I'm doing for you guys, I removed completely my whole side fairings on both sides. That way you're able to see a little bit better on what I'm actually doing on removing the stock headlights compared to having my fender on there, which that's what you're gonna have, and me trying to shove the camera in there to show you, which almost all the time doesn't work. So I completely removed my side fairing so you guys could have a better look. Okay, so first thing you're gonna do is you're gonna go ahead and remove your cap for your headlight. Just go ahead and turn it, and then it should pop right off. Okay, once you remove your cap, you're gonna find that it's connected right there. As you can see, it's connected for your headlights. So just go ahead and remove your connector. What you want to do is just kind of wiggle it left and right to get it off, or you could just pull it out if you're that strong. So, or if it's really tight on there, sometimes they tend to do that. Just wiggling it and then pulling it out works. So once you get this pulled out, I'm gonna go ahead and push that off into the side there. Remove the cap. Now you're left with your stock bulb. Now to get the bulb out of there, you're gonna notice that there is this little clip. Alright, so now here is the best angle I can find on the camera to give you the best look of what I'm actually doing onto that clip. So the clip has this little half circle here. What you want to do is you put your finger on it and then push in and then push it out this way. So go ahead, push it in. It's gonna be kind of like really high tension on there. So push it in and then push it out. If you want me to do it again, push it in and then push it out and then pull it out completely. So it's just a little hook right over here to hold the headlight bulb in place. Once you do that, you can see that the bulb just kind of pops out. You want to grab it and note the orientation of the bulb as you take it out. You see the little notch is pointed up. Now if you remove the headlight completely and forgot which direction this little notch is, if you look over here as I point to it, this is where the little notch sits inside the headlight housing. Okay, so now this is where it kind of gets tricky with the LED style bulbs. Now because of the big fan that it has behind here compared to the stock bulb. Okay, so now this is the part where it's going to get tricky. Hopefully I could do this all in one shot on the camera. As you can see, I'm pretty zoomed in, very close. So what you want to do is to try to get this bracket here. If I flip it up a little bit, you can see the bracket. As you can see, it's not that wide, but that's okay. What you want to do is you want to put the LED. Let me zoom out a little bit for you guys to see a little bit better. All right, so, and I'm trying to do the best I can at showing you of what to do here on how particular zoomed I'm in with the camera. So grab your LED light and then grab the bracket. Before you put it in, try to get the arms of the bracket over the LED. Like I said, this is the part where it's going to get just a little bit tricky on doing, but just try to do the best you can. And this part's actually going to go in a little bit more smoother than the other part because the other part has that little lip that we have to press on. But let's see, maybe try a different way. So let's get it on like so, which is going to be like this way. Before you get it on there, push the little bracket over that part. Now you're going to notice a little bit more difficult on that side, but just try to do the best you can when you're doing this part. So once you get on there, you're going to feel it slip right in. Once you get it, you feel like it slipped right in, just make sure on the other side that the little cable is not hanging on the cable itself on this part. So we're just going to go ahead and flip that over from the bracket. Okay, now next we're going to go ahead and press the LED into the housing, and then like I was showing you before on pushing that little bracket in, that's the part where it's going to get a little difficult just because of the fins of the heat sink itself. But as you can see, I actually was able to pop it in there. Next we're going to go ahead and push in and then down on that bracket, on that little lip. So there you go, I already got that in there, and it's pretty secure inside. So that's the only main part you're going to have a little trouble on actually installing these LED headlight bulbs. You're asking me, so Alfonso, how am I supposed to put my cover back on when this fan is sticking out? And as you can see, you cannot. Because of the fan, you're not able to put the cover back on, but there is a solution on actually putting a cover with this LED setup. Now the reason you definitely don't want to have this all open and exposed like that while you ride, just because the fan does need ventilation, fresh air to operate at an efficient rate, but at the same time dust and everything can get inside your headlight, therefore you'll see the dust on the front side of your bike. You definitely don't want that. You want to make sure that all this is covered. So now let me show you two solutions that you'll be able to use in order to keep this area all covered while still gaining ventilation on the fan for the LED. Okay, so I did mention two. There's actually three. I did find a different other option that you guys could use. All right, so we're going to start off with that first option, which is the cheapest option, which is if you don't want to spend more money on getting that whole cover, you can use duct tape. Now, duct tape, you just want to make sure that you have covered all this area just to make sure that no water or dust or debris gets inside the headlight cover. So you definitely want to tape here all around. Just make sure you don't duct tape the fan, because you want to make sure it gets some ventilation. The next method I wanted to show you that I didn't actually do at the time of making this video is to actually cut a hole as the same diameter as the back of the fan for the LED on the cover itself. That I think will also allow best coverage on not letting any dust come into the headlight, And also you get to just reuse your covers again, which also makes it another alternative and also the cheapest way of getting a cover on and still providing the ventilation it needs for cooling of the LED headlight bulb. As you can see in the picture, I did mark a circle with an X, and that would be the location of where you would need to cut the circle using a drill and a hobby knife to get the circle as big as you can. Make sure you don't cut the whole entire thing. If you're able to measure the diameter of the fan of the LED that you particularly have, and then just cut as needed. The next method is going to be there's two specific covers that you could use for the LED headlight. One is going to be a circle like this. This part is where the LED fan is going to be sticking out for maximum ventilation. On the other side, it looks like this. There's these like little ridges, and this will go in place. You want to make sure that you install, well, let's see, yep, you definitely want to make sure that you install the LED through this before you actually install it there. So in that case, it may get a little cumbersome on doing all that together at once because the LED has to go within with that bracket. But like I said, let me see if I'm able to, nope, the rubber on this piece is too stiff, so I'm not able to actually flex it over the fan once you get it on there. That would be more ideal because as you saw, it was kind of a pain in the butt to actually install the LED in there. Your third option will be a little bubble like this. It's a little cover. It almost looks like a little black hat. It's a very flexible rubber. On the other side is just this. Now to get this installed effectively, it's not really going to attach to anything besides the little lip that we have here on our headlight. And if you notice that this little half circle really kind of covers that diameter. So what you're going to do is you're going to, if you go with this option, you're going to have to poke a hole in it because you do need to poke the wire through this cover. So just poke a small hole and then put your cabling through it, run it through, and then once you get to this part, you just want to make sure that you have this going over the lip. So you're going to have to stretch it. It's going to be a 90 millimeter diameter, and then on this part you may want to cut a little bit of some slits over here to allow for this plastic to go over it. I'm not going to do that because I'll be using the other method. So cut the little slits and then put the rubber over like that, and this still has a little kind of pocket area for the circulation of air to still get in and keep your LEDs cool. Okay, so now that you figure out the method you're going to use to cover up this area, whatever you do, you want to make sure that you have your connector taken out because obviously the connector for the LED is out also. So if you're going to use duct tape, you want to make sure that your connector for your LED kit is also sticking out so you're able to plug it in. Or if you wanted to plug it in, then also tape it down. That way you know that your connector is also going to be waterproof and dustproof. You can do that as well. If you used the rubber circle like this, you just want to make sure that you either cut a little slit to allow the connector to be out like so, or if possible feed it through here and maybe cut a little slit also to make sure that you have your connector out so you could actually plug it in to your LED kit. And then if you use the bubble method, which is that little black hat, you want to make sure that you cut a little hole into it to allow your connector also to be plugged in. So those will be the three methods you're going to be using. So you just want to make sure that you're able to connect your factory harness to your LED setup. Okay, now that you got your other side already hooked up, now we can do the same thing with the left side. Now with the left side, it doesn't matter with the left side or the right side, I am going to show you a different method on how to install these particular style of LEDs onto your bike. Now I'm going to zoom out of the headlight frame just so I can show you what I'm talking about. Okay, so now on these particular LEDs, you can also do this method. Now if you notice inside here, there's a little hole here and a little hole here. You're actually able to twist this bracket off of the LED. So give it a twist and then you're able to slide it out. Now this, if you're doing that rubber, if you're going to use the rubber caps that I had shown you, this will make it a little bit easier on installing your LED and your bracket at the same time. compared if you were to use a duct tape method, then you will really need to do this. So now that you have your metal bracket off of the LED, now we're going to go to the bike and we're going to take out your stock bulb, and then we're going to install the bracket in its place, which will make it easier compared to the other method that I was showing you to get the little bracket over the LED itself. Okay, and just like before on the other side that I've showed you, it's the same thing. You want to go ahead and push in and out the little bracket. So once you do that, you're going to notice that the little bulb is going to come off. And again, if you forgot on which side the little notch is on, just look for the little hump, and on this one it's located on this side, not on the top. So just go ahead and we'll remove that, and then we're going to go ahead and install our bracket. Now if you wanted to make sure that your LED lights are in the same particular manner, that's why I had selected this brand of LEDs, just because it does have the two notches. So on the other side, the notch was on the top. Therefore, like I said, we're going to install our LEDs like this, not like that. So on the other side, the notch is on the top, and on this side the notches are going to be on the side. So this one gives you that side option as well. So we're going to go ahead and we're going to install our bracket. Here it is. Going to go ahead and put it in its place, put it in there like so, and then grab your bracket, push it in, and then hook it up into the slot like that. Now that you got your bracket in there, you want to go ahead and grab your, we're going to go with this particular rubber piece, and what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and install that piece in like so. Make sure you get it all in there and that it's covering up all of the hole. Alright, as you can see, this is how it looks like with the cover. After wiggling it around and really getting it on there, it was a little difficult to get it in just because the rubber is just a little bit on the stiff side. So as you can see, now that I have the cover on, it's a little bit hard to see what I'm actually doing, but I'm going to go ahead and remove the cover and then show you again what I'm actually doing with the LED headlight. But for you, just make sure that you're just following the steps on what I'm showing you without the cover, but on yours you're going to have the cover on. Okay, now with the cover off, as you can see, you're able to see a little bit better on what I'm actually doing. So now we're going to go ahead and we're going to slide in our LED, and you want to make sure you get it all the way in until you get to the little holes that are in there. Once you get it in there, all you're going to do is just you're going to twist the LED bulb in its spot. Go ahead and give it a little bit of a twist. It doesn't take that much to get it on there. Once you give it that twist, you're going to feel that it actually locked in place. And there you go. That's all you need to do. I would say that'll be the most easiest, honestly, guys. I didn't really take that into consideration when I showed you the first time. All right, so now that we got it in there, we're going to go ahead and we're going to plug it in to our factory harness. Now here's the plug. So just go ahead and, like I showed you on the other side, just go ahead and plug it in. When you turn on the bike, if you notice that it didn't turn on, just go ahead and switch over the plug, switch it over to this side, and then go ahead and plug it in again, and it should work. If you got it in the first time, the right time, then you don't have to worry about it. Okay, now that we got both headlights in, as you could see, on this side and on that side. So that pretty much concludes the installation of how to install LEDs for our R3. If you found this video helpful, please hit that like button. If you haven't yet subscribed, please subscribe. Don't forget to leave any comments below, and thanks for watching.